Oh, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to 2C TV. It is Friday, the 27th of October, and we're going to be talking about the report that came out last night. It was reported yesterday that Isabel Vaughan Spruce, the Christian lady who has previously been arrested for silently praying in her head, she has once again been charged. But in this video, of course, some of you might have already heard last night on social media about this update. But in this video, we're going to talk about the consequences of this sort of policy or sort of enforcement by the British police, especially in the West Midlands. And of course, the reality of the situation when it comes to double standards and hypocrisy from the police leadership in the country, whether it's the Metropolitan Police in London or again West Midlands or anywhere else in the country for that matter. There are issues, of course, when it comes to differences in terms of policing, but actually my issue is actually about the culture of law enforcement in this country, because on the one hand they've been telling us that it's about protecting the peace and essentially not necessarily just punish the criminals or go after criminals, but also just maintaining the peace. But at times that means you have to pander to one side. So this is Isabel Vaughan Spruce, and she's the woman who goes outside the abortion clinic. A couple of times she was arrested. Now, that people have their own opinions when it comes to abortion. People have their own opinions about this woman, and just generally speaking, the Christian activists who go outside abortion clinics. Some actually proactively protest, some just silently pray, and then some people have their opinions when it comes to these exclusion zones and everything else. Forget about all that, because of course we could have a debate about all that. Everybody has their own view, but the issue we have is I'm going to show you this clip that we have from yesterday. The police, when they approached her, I've got two problems. One is with the police themselves and the quality or the lack of quality of police officers that we have. Secondly, we're going to talk about the double standard of policing. So compare this incident that I'm going to show you to what we had over the last couple of weeks with the pro-Hamas and pro-Palestinian protesters, of course, the different type of protesters who've been coming out. First, let's go to Isabel Vaughan Spruce and see what happened to her.
Are you here as part of an organised protest?
No.
You're not. Are you part of a pro-life organisation or pro-choice organisation?
I am, but I'm not here in that capacity.
Okay. Are you protesting?
No.
Are you here to pray for the lives of unborn children?
It's a little bit leading, but no, I'm not.
Okay. Can your actions be carried out elsewhere?
I can pray elsewhere, but I want to pray here today.
Right. Why have you chosen the location here to stand?
You know this is an abortion centre that I'm standing outside of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you aware that there is a public space protection order in place here?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Are you aware that you're breaching the public protection order?
I'm not, no.
Will you move from here to outside of the exclusion zone?
I don't believe I need to.
Okay. If not, why are you not willing to move outside of the exclusion zone?
Because I don't believe I need to. I believe I've got a right to be here.
Okay. Right. If you believe that you're present to protest in any form, obviously we're going to need to issue with a fixed penalty notice.
Sorry, can you explain that again?
Yes. If you believe that you're present to protect in any form...
If I believe what, sorry?
If you believe that you are present to protest
No,
in any
I'm
form...
not here to protest, no.
Right. Well, you're in the PSPO, you're breaching it.
I'm in the zone,
yes,
but I'm not protesting.
Yes, so you're going to be given a fixed penalty notice today. Okay. That will be given to you with the offence and failure to comply with the Public Space Protection Order under the Antisocial Behaviour Crime and Policing Act 2014, and my colleague's going to issue with the ticket.
Just to make it clear, I'm not protesting. Okay.
But you know you can't be here. I'll just point out the PSPO from there. I think you've seen that before.
I know there's a zone here, but I'm not protesting within the zone. I'm just silently praying.
What's your date of birth, Isabel?
So that's what happened to Isabel Vaughan Spruce. As I said, people have their own opinions when it comes to abortion, when it comes to the exclusion zones, when it comes to whether you should protest or not. That aside, I'm just actually going to be reasonable here. I'm going to be objective. So, one, there is the thing to say about those who protest very proactively shout at women who want to go into abortion clinics, right? You could have your opinion about pro-choice, pro-life. There's the thing about the exclusion zones as well. There's the thing also, being reasonable, about finding a loophole. This is the loophole. So Isabel is outside the clinic, and she could actually obviously say, because of her values, she's there to silent and pray for the unborn babies. Absolutely. One could also say, make an argument that, okay, this could be a good loophole for someone like Isabel to technically be outside, technically protesting without protesting. So that there's absolutely nothing wrong with that either. Because I'm actually going to be defending a protest that is not a protest, silently standing there. Because there is one thing to actually, again, being logical, individuals who are going into abortion clinic under the law in this country, obviously it's legal. So if you don't like it, we could change the law. But currently it's legal. So the women who want to go to abortion clinics obviously have a right to go in there safely. Cool, got it. So I'm against them being attacked, like actually completely being threatened. That's one thing. But if someone like Isabel is just standing there, and her presence is intimidating, and it could be in a subjective way, but that is not the same as a direct threat. So technically speaking, by being harsh, it's your problem. Don't be threatened. Don't be intimidated. Ignore her. Just go into the clinic. Don't even look at her. So that's the idea. But forget about Isabel Vaughan Spruce herself, and of course the debate about abortion. This is about the police themselves. First things first, the lack of quality of police officers that we have now. I don't understand what's going on in this country. Back in the day, in this country, you had police officers who joined the police force for a reason. We still have that in America. We still actually even have that in France. In Germany, the liberal Germany, the police are strong and stable. You don't have to militarize the police. You don't have to create a dictatorship in terms of tough police officers, alpha male going around causing chaos. No, but on a very basic level, it's so bureaucratic, it's so boring at this point that look at this lady. She's a police officer. I'm sure she's got great intentions. She can't even remember the basic questions, list of questions that she should ask. She's reading and she's still struggling reading a piece of paper, and she doesn't have the authority. So the rule of law that we have, the laws that we have given too much power to the police to take advantage of them, right? But the tone of the police at times is actually showing weakness. I don't want them to become more authoritarian. I'm just saying there's no respect. When we say tone of authority, it's there to show respect and to create a good relationship between the community and the police. So it's like that tough teacher that you had at school when you were at primary school, the maths teacher who was tough, but actually very respectful and actually very reasonable and very compassionate. You need that relationship. You don't have to have a complete tough dictatorial police officer. Well, you also can't have a vanilla police officer. Just people need to know that the reason we say they need to respect the police officers is because so they could feel safe. That if a crime is happening, we could trust this woman to go and fix it. But clearly not. That's one issue. My second issue, I'm now going to be talking about double standards. Before we talk about double standards, I think we have a super chat. Let's quickly go to, there we go. It's Angel of Death. This is a big one. Hang on. What's going on? There we go. £10 super chat. We allow Muslims to pray outside Downing Street, but we don't allow our own people to pray where they want. This is Churchill's England, not Stalin's Russia. The police is slowly becoming the Gestapo. This is exactly my point. So before the incident outside Downing Street a couple of weeks ago, where you had the mass prayer, the Islamic prayer, if I had made this argument about Isabel, liberals would have said, Maya, this is very different. Isabel was there, yes, silent and praying, but it was a sign, a symbol to show intimidation. And then they would have said, yeah, but Muslims haven't done this. Until 2 weeks ago, when they were all outside Downing Street, combining their prayer session and the protest, you know exactly what that means. So there will be Christians and let's just say Jews who will be walking around Whitehall outside Downing Street seeing that there are angry flags of Hezbollah and Hamas, and they're also praying outside Downing Street. And that is allowed. The police are just standing there just looking at them. This is the double standard. Look at this. This is the flag of Hezbollah been flying around London over the last few days. This is the flag of Hezbollah and the flag of Hamas right outside the gates of Downing Street. That is allowed as well, apparently. Technically, they're not allowed. Technically, the police have been told that, the police told the public that they're on top of it. That it will be illegal to fly the flags of Hamas or Hezbollah, or do certain chants, even with the Palestinian flag. But of course, when Isabel Vaughan Spruce would do a silent prayer outside an abortion clinic in the West Midlands, they can get away with it because initially the first 2 arrests that she had last year, one of the main problems was they thought no one's going to know. But of course, friends of Isabel were there to film on their phone, and that went viral. So as I said, being reasonable, I would say standing outside an abortion clinic silently praying, and of course you could do it partly as a Christian because it's your values, you're praying for the not unborn babies, fine. But it could easily also be a loophole for protesting without protesting, and I'm fine with that. That should be allowed. Because you're not actually breaking the rules of the exclusion zone. The whole point of that is that you're not allowed to be there to intimidate. Even verbally, I know free speech is gone. But, technically, with that regulation, it means if you're being vocal, technically that's as bad as inciting violence, even if you're not inciting violence. But I'm going to be reasonable and accept that. I'm be like, okay, fine. I'll take that. But that means if I'm standing in the zone and just standing there, closing my eyes, praying, right? If someone's going into an abortion clinic and feels intimidated, that is now subjective. We need to create a tougher society. People need to man up and woman up. And all the genders up. Everything up. We can't create a culture of victims and snowflakes and weak people who are victims of everything and everyone all the time. But doesn't mean the solution is also creating some sort of hardcore, ruthless, and with a society without compassion. There's a middle ground, which we used to call Victorian times. But there is the middle ground. The British culture was the middle ground for decades and centuries, the most recent centuries. You have to be tough. You cannot be offended that easily. You shouldn't feel intimidated that easily. But you can still be compassionate. You can still be a nice human. You don't have to go full on 1930s Germany. But at the same time, stop feeling like a victim. It's just stupid. And now, what they do is they create the mob rule mentality by still pretending to be victims. This is the perfect example. You are flying the flags of Hezbollah and Hamas. The police have said it's illegal. The police still allow you to fly the flags of Hamas and Hezbollah because you're still claiming to be the victim here. You are becoming the majority. That's the whole plan. They've been saying it for such a long time. We want to become the majority. One day we will be the majority in England and in Europe and in America, right? Now, whether it's going to happen or not, that's for a different day. But that's their intent. But they're still pretending to be the victims, underdogs. How are you the underdogs when you are making the offensive move every single time? But that's why the police know that it's politically incorrect to not see them as victims. And let's not forget where the concept of political correctness comes from. Stalin's Russia. Political correctness was simply saying what you're saying is factual, it's truthful, but it's not convenient. It's not really, it doesn't go with the party line. And that's the modern political correctness. They know the political correctness means that the rest of society, the self-guilt, weird liberals, champagne socialist liberals sitting in their mini mansions in North London, they will feel offended on behalf of these the illusion of victimhood. But the police are in reality terrified, absolutely terrified of the backlash. That's why they can't do anything about these guys. The more you cooperate, the more you're actually nice when the police approach you, It's the opposite of America. In America, if you fight back, then you might be in trouble. You might get shot. You have to cooperate every single second. In this country, if you're responding in a very nice way and you're basically cooperating, you will be in more trouble, apparently. It makes no sense. Because if you are like these guys with the flags of Hezbollah and Hamas going around London, and the police approach you, or even think about approaching you, you're already angry, saying, no, free speech, it's my right to do this, even though you're breaking the law. The police will feel the fear. They have to check with the command, saying, what do we do? Should we let them go? Should we arrest them? Like, no, don't. Probably it's better not to approach them because the cameras are there, BBC News and Sky News. It's all about PR. It's all about the battle of PR, and that is a sad reality. But when they see Isabel Vaughan-Spruce or someone else, actually, yes, the police could say, she's using a loophole. She knows what she's doing. She's basically protesting, blah, blah, blah. She's an exclusionist. Sure, yeah, we get it. Okay, I'll take that. But because she's actually answering the questions, which she didn't even have to, they feel empowered to charge her. Now, it's the same thing happened during the lockdown with those who received fixed penalty notices for breaking the lockdown rules, for going outside the house 3 times. Instead of, what was it, twice? I can't remember how many times you were allowed to leave. I think I left 8 times a day during the lockdown. I was living outside. It was brilliant. But this is stupid. Let me show you the video in case you joined us late. This is the video we have from the West Midland Police when they charged Isabel Vaughan-Spruce. Just look at the quality of police officer who doesn't even remember the list of very simple questions. Just struggling to read from the piece of paper.
Are you here as part of an organised protest?
No.
You're not. Are you part of a pro-life organisation or pro-choice organisation?
I am, but I'm not here in that capacity.
Okay. Are you protesting?
No.
Are you here to pray for the lives of unborn children?
It's a little bit leading, but no, I'm not.
Okay. Can your actions be carried out elsewhere?
I can pray elsewhere, but I want to pray here today.
Right. Why have you chosen the location here to stand?
You know this is an abortion centre that I'm standing outside of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you aware that there is a public space protection order in place here?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Are you aware that you're breaching the public protection order?
I'm not, no.
Will you move from here to outside of the exclusion zone?
I don't believe I need to.
Okay. If not, why are you not willing to move outside of the exclusion zone?
Because I don't believe I need to. I believe I've got a right to be here.
Okay. Right. If you believe that you're present to protest in any form, obviously we're going to need to issue with a fixed penalty notice.
Sorry, can you explain that again?
Yes. If you believe that you're present to protect in any form.
If I believe what? Sorry.
If you believe that you are present to protest.
No,
in
I'm
any
not.
form,
I'm not here to protest. No.
Right. Well, you're in the PSPO. You're breaching it.
Well,
so
I'm in the
you're gonna
zone.
yes,
But
so
I'm
you're
not
gonna-
protesting.
Yeah. So you're going to be given a fixed penalty notice today. Okay. That will be given to you with the offence and failure to comply with the Public Space Protection Order under the Antisocial Behaviour Crime and Policing Act 2014, and my colleague's going to issue with the ticket.
Just to make it clear, I'm not protesting. Okay.
But you know you can't be here. I'll just point out the PSPO from there. I think you've seen that before.
I know there's a zone here, but I'm not protesting within the zone. I'm just silently praying.
What's your date of birth, Isabel?
Okay, on behalf of all lesbian grandmothers in Britannia, this is stupid. The reason it's stupid, actually, I'm going to go to live chat. There's a couple of comments that I saw. I'm going to use, I'm going to answer the questions to show you why the whole thing is stupid. First one, actually, before we start, there we go. This one is about the England flag emojis. If you did watch the live stream last night, I did say I had a meeting with YouTube yesterday, and I raised the issue. They are going to sort it out. It's not going to take 10 hours to do it. It's a corporation, Google and YouTube. It will take weeks, well, probably days or weeks, so don't expect it to be done immediately, but we will get it done. The England flag emojis have been essentially, you can see, blocked on the YouTube chat and live chat and comments. We'll sort it out. It was clearly someone at the company at some point making a decision and just clicking on a button. But a lot of them didn't know. So we're going to sort it out. I'm going to keep pushing for it. We're not going to give up. Anyway, let's go back. This is Billy saying, I hated Mrs. Thatcher, but I'll be glad to see her back. Yes, bring back strong and stable. Okay, this is it. Robert said this. I'm going to respond to him about the issue. I have no problem with protesting peacefully, but what she did was break the exclusion zone set up around these clinics that she knew exactly she was breaking the law. So no sympathy from me. So fair enough, okay? But I'm going to respond to this, again, by being reasonable, because, one, that means, and I can see that the exclusion zone regulation is stupid now. It needs to be updated. It has to only focus on, if you're in the zone, actually intimidating. The whole point of stopping the protests was to stop the intimidation. So they made it black and white. Said anybody protesting, that's probably intimidation. You need to make it clear that if someone's actually there to intimidate directly or inciting violence. So that's that. And especially being vocal if you're shouting around. So firstly, the exclusion zone regulation is stupid and needs to be updated. But I'm not going to say just get rid of it, because you need a middle ground. You need, this is the society where everyone's so weak and feeble. You need people to be able to not feel vulnerable. Okay, I get that. Second problem I have with this whole thing, I get what Robert's trying to say. Well, yeah, but he says I have no sympathy with her. But the problem is, I'm saying if the police are going to be arresting Isabel or charging Isabel or any Christian for silent praying, if they're going to do that, they need to keep up their own standards. They can't allow this to happen. If you are arresting a Christian for, let's just say, protesting for the sake of the argument, right? Why they're not still arresting those who, and the police are still struggling to find who was there. They're still tweeting saying, those who were at the protest last Saturday in London, can you help us identify some people? What are you talking about? You were there. These people had masks, their face coverings. So you can't identify them afterwards. You were standing right next to the idiots flying the flags. Arrest them right there. But you were too scared to do it, aren't you? That's the whole point. So I'm saying if you're arresting Isabel, if you're going to go with that mentality that she should be arrested, then you have to also say the police need to arrest those who are inciting violence at the protest. The ones who are inciting violence and breaking the law. The ones who are supporting Hamas and Hezbollah. I'm not saying the random idiotic protesters who are just expressing their own free speech rights. I don't care about them. They could do whatever they want. They could protest and I could make fun of them. That's free speech. Whoa, what's going on here? Angel of Death. So the comments are always so large it goes big. No, don't get that. Another super chat. Even things I say on super chats are banned. I have to rephrase like 20 times in order for them to send. I'm being censored while paying money. It's like YouTube don't want the money. I know, it's stupid. I do love how when comments have been censored or whatever happened in the past, some people blame me as if I have the power to multitask. I'm literally trying to rant, reading the comments, clicking on everything else here, trying to find out if I can have beer at the same time. And then they expect me to also have the multitasking capabilities of censoring people. Oh, good times ahead. Anyway, Hannah says, what's going on? F you, a man is not a woman. Vaccines. I don't know what's going on here. This is such an out of context comment. This is literally everything in one place. We got the anti-gender lobby comment. We got the anti-Pfizer comment. And we also got, what else do we have? Oh, yeah, religion. This is brilliant. This is just a collection of everything in my head. So thank you, Hannah. Out of context comment. I love that. Oh, this is interesting. Vicky says the flag. I should have known this. The flags all work in the comments, just not on the live chat. Okay, I will update the person I know at YouTube to, in case I've sent them to check the wrong thing. They might go and check the comment section and be like, oh, it works. So thank you for letting me know. Melina says, people delete their own comments, mate. That's also a different problem. There's also the other issue that when you leave a comment on YouTube, you have to refresh the page sometimes, and sometimes you have to click on see the most recent rather than the top comments, because then you won't be able to see your comment. Then people accuse me of removing comments. I get 10,000 comments a day on this channel. All right, let's go back to what's going on. What's Hannah saying again? Is that started? I think it started. He started to read my comment. Well, thank you. Send more comments. I will read all the comments. Well, I'll try to read comments. There's so many comments. No more corrupt lesbian nana officers. As I said, on behalf of all lesbian grandmothers, I am calling for the Met to be reformed. Not just the Met, the West Midland Police and everywhere else, the UK police in general. Yeah, Emma has also confirmed that flags seem to be working in the chat for some people. No, it's but I haven't seen the England flag. The idea was that the England flag isn't working. All the other flags work, the Union flags and everything else. But that's also the other thing. Lily confirms that men don't have the ability to multitask. See, Lily gets it. So where was I? See, I can't multitask. I'm all over the place. Also, as a reminder, I'm going to do a review of what we talked about if you joined late. But today's going to be big. We are going to be talking about the Foreign Office, our Foreign Office. They're still working from home. Some of them have disappeared, even though there's a massive conflict in the Middle East and the British people have lost their lives, by the way. Let's not forget about that. We also have the latest phone conversation that has been leaked by IDF, which we will show later. And of course, there's a backlash in Canada. Justin Castro Trudeau is in trouble. The Canadian Tories are rising up. We'll talk about the latest update from Canada. And also, America has attacked the Islamic Revolutionary Guard of Iran in Syria. Things are definitely escalating in the Middle East, and we're going to keep you guys posted on that throughout the day, because I think the tensions between America and Iran could ironically calm things down, because Iran doesn't really want a direct conflict with America. They know they will last probably only about 7 minutes, but they always prefer to do a proxy battle. But if America directly targets the IRGC bases, like in Syria or Iraq or wherever, Iran will pull back again. They've always done that. For the past 10-15 years, every time America hits one of the IRGC bases, Iran just gets quiet. And then 2 weeks later, they come back and say, "That's to America, rah, rah, rah. Capitalism is so bad, freedom, rah." So they're going to do that. But we are also going to be talking about the rise of Islamism. There's this propaganda that's been going around for decades that somehow Palestinians care about Palestine. Like, okay, that's a new thing. Somehow the Arabs care about territory. It definitely wasn't about just preventing the Jews from having their country. It definitely wasn't about continuing what Muhammad said. Definitely not. We're going to talk about that because there's still a lot of ordinary people, civilians in Gaza, who are essentially being oppressed by Hamas. They need to be liberated, but it's not my job to liberate them. It's the job of, firstly, the West Bank to liberate them, technically, but it's also their job. Stop listening to Hamas. Stop staying at home. If Hamas says, again, the other problem is sometimes there are some areas in the north of Gaza. If you want to leave your home, as the Israelis say, leave, we're going to come and target the Hamas bases. Even if they don't listen to Hamas leadership, when they get to checkpoints, the Hamas soldiers are there to target them literally and say you have to turn around or we'll take you out. So it's a very tough situation, but seems like nobody in the international community, the liberals and leftists who care about, civilians, ordinary people, humanity, peace, none of them care about civilians in Gaza. They only care about civilians in Gaza if Israel is doing airstrikes, but they don't care about civilians in Gaza for the past decade or so. Since they've been oppressed by Hamas, they've said, well, no, they seem happy. Yeah, some of them are happy because they've been brainwashed. But the others are innocent and they've been completely oppressed and none of you cared about it until somehow IDF decided to do self-defense, and now you care about those civilians in Gaza. Absolute hypocrites. They're all absolute hypocrites. We got a radical solution. Oh no. Give the entire Middle East to Israel. Now I have a better solution. Better solution, much more reasonable. The middle ground. You ready for the middle ground solution? Considering that we are, and obviously this channel, together, we're going to bring back the British Empire, right? While we're doing that, bring back the Persian Empire, give the Middle East to the Persians, and a little bit of it to Israel, and then they could just work together. And the Arabs could live peacefully under the Persian Empire. Okay, before I get cancelled, I need to clarify, legally speaking, that was a joke. Constitutionally, I'm not advocating for treason, but The British Empire did nothing wrong. All right, so let's quickly go back to live chat. Take a couple of more comments, and then I'll let you guys go. We have 2 more live streams later on to give you guys updates, as I said, all the other issues that we talked about. Actually, before we go, let me just quickly show you again this weird conversation between the police and Isabel Vaughan Spruce.
Are you here as part of an organised protest?
No.
You're not. Are you part of a pro-life organisation or pro-choice organisation?
I am, but I'm not here in that capacity.
Okay. Are you protesting?
No.
Are you here to pray for the lives of unborn children?
It's a little bit leading, but no, I'm not.
Okay. Can your actions be carried out elsewhere?
I can pray elsewhere, but I want to pray here today.
Right. Why have you chosen the location here to stand?
You know this is an abortion centre that I'm standing outside of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you aware that there is a public space protection order in place here?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Are you aware that you're breaching the public protection order?
I'm not, no.
Will you move from here to outside of the exclusion zone?
I don't believe I need to.
Okay. If not, why are you not willing to move outside of the exclusion zone?
Because I don't believe I need to. I believe I've got a right to be here.
Okay. Right. If you believe that you're present to protest in any form, obviously we're going to need to issue with a fixed penalty notice.
Sorry, can you explain that again?
Yes. If you believe that you're present to protect in any form.
If I believe what? Sorry.
If you believe that you are present to protest.
No, I'm not here to protest. No.
Right. Well, you're in the PSPO. You're breaching it.
So I'm in the zone.
Yes.
But I'm not protesting.
Yeah. So you're going to be given a fixed penalty notice today. Okay. That'll be given to you with the offence.
I can't continue with this. It's just, she can't even read. These are very simple questions. Only a few questions. Just remember them. Bureaucracy has gone crazy in this country. Let me just quickly look at this. Susan says, "Hi Maya. Our police couldn't sink any lower, could they? Ever since the Manningham riot in Bradford, they've always been afraid of arresting Muslims. I soon left Bradford, the town of my birth. Don't get me started with that, Susan. Absolutely agree. Angels of Death is back. Pray for the return of the British Empire." Actually, on that note, got to go get ready for all the other updates for you guys. It's going to be a busy day. And also, don't forget, we do have the new website now. It's been officially launched, 2ctv.com. If you want to stay up to date with everything that is happening in the country and around the world, check out our website. They've got the news articles obviously being updated regularly throughout the day as well. In the name of the British Empire and the Persian Empire, thank you so much for watching. I'm Maya 2C, and we are the media.